ನಮಸ್ತೆ ವಾಸು ದೀಕ್ಷಿತ್ ಅವರೇ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್.
ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಜರ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಲಾಕ್ಡೌನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಕಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಂಡ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಇಂಥ ಟೈಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರಿಟಿ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಂತ ಅವಕಾಶ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಹಿಯರ್ ಸರ್. My name is Anirudh. I am the facilitator for Let's Talk Shop and I'm also the student mentor. So,
okay.
Before we actually start with the interview, just wanted to give a brief about what we are trying to do, Anta.
Sure.
So all the three students, there are three students who will interview you virtually today, and all the three students are students of Cresta School of Management. They're all doing their undergraduation. And this is their first ever interview in their life. So this is,
awesome.
This is the first time, and we wanted these students really inculcate these skills also, where
So,
of course
am I allowed to rag them?
at your will, sir. You are free totally.
In fact, I would ask you to do that so that they keep smiling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Please go.
before you go, I would want to tell all of you, just chill out, relax. I just look scary, but I'm not that scary. I won't eat you. I'm a vegetarian. So Aram se chill out and smile and think that it's not an interview. Think that it's a talk.
Right. And wonderful, sir. In the forum, we also have Dr. Srinivasan. So he is the Vice Principal of Cresta Management, and he's also the HOD of Commerce Department. He's
Very
the
nice.
man of this initiative.
Yes.
Srinivasan, sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anirudh, and thank you very much, Vasu Dikshit Aure, for accepting our invitation. And on behalf of Cresta School of Management and behalf of our CEO, I welcome you to this wonderful session. And I'm sure that our students will also enjoy the session. Mr. Sambhav, our CEO, is very much keen on this option of going online live and encouraging the students. And
Yes.
they are for the first time they are coming online, and of course they have some kind of anxiety on their face. But yes, you are moving forward. Students smiling always. The smile shows on your words, right? Yes. Whatever you talk, the smile shows in your words. All right. And I've heard a lot about Mr. Vasu Dikshit in my life, and he's a wonderful person. He will be very friendly with you all. It's just going to be a chat, and just move on. I wish you all the best, and thank you again, Mr. Vasu Dikshit, for joining us today.
Thank you, Srinivasan sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll take leave, and I'll hand it over to the students now. And Anirudh, you can move on with your recording and move forward. Wish you all the best, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Very much,
Thank you very much.
Vasu Dikshit, joining us again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. ವಾಸು ಸರ್, ಇದು ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಶಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಹೆಸರಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಆಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಕರಿಯರ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಅದು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸಮವಾರ್ದಿ ಅದು ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಬಯಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವೋ ಏನೋ ಆಗ್ತೀವೋ. ಗರ್ಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಟಾಕ್ ಗಾಸಿಪ್ ಅಥವಾ ದೇ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಟಾಕ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೋ ರಿಲೆವೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ತರ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಇದೆ. So at Cresta, we thought we will break that with team of girls. In fact, we are talking about doing 12 interviews and yours being the first in the series. So it's our privilege to have you have a musical beginning, in fact, to the interview. So the whole format is designed in such a way that these girls will talk something which makes sense in terms of shaping their career, in terms of achieving economic well-being, at the same time social acceptance with what they do. Because both are equally important, and creative career options nalli noduvaga, other than the mainstream aldene, people like you who have broken the barriers, who have really redefined the way success is looked upon, and especially for youngsters being on the same wavelength, this will be a great inspiration, not just for the students who are interviewing, but also these interviews we are planning to package at a later date and release on social media so that it becomes informative for the entire audience community. And the whole objective is, as we say, let's talk shop. So something which makes sense, not just about our challenges and struggles, because we understand to achieve a certain level, ಅವಮಾನಗಳನ್ನ ಅನುಭವಿಸದೇ ಇರೋನಿಗೆ ಸನ್ಮಾನ ಆಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಕೇಳಿದ ಮಾತು. So ಹಾಗಾಗಿ we understand. But we also want students to go beyond that to understand how the career shapes up. If they want to really take path in that way and reach where you have reached, how do they shape themselves? And how important it is to take care of their economics when they're going. Because when we see most of the artist community, one of the great problems is their sustenance and survival. Of course, they are devoted to art, but society respond madlilla antandre, we see a lot of artists who will not be able to get what they deserve also. So in that way, in that way you have actually walked that path and you have more insights to share with the students. So that's the whole objective. And ಈ interview live alla, so it's going to be a
Yeah.
recorded interview. At any given point in time, if you are uncomfortable with any of the questions, you are very free to say so. And ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇ ಆದ್ರೂ editing options ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, so no hassles at all. So
Yes.
thank you very much for this opportunity of talking to you. So from now on, I will hand it over to our students for the formal interview.
Yeah.
Isha, Simran, Anchal. So these three
Yeah.
will be interacting with you. So students, all the very best. Vasu sir, pleasure meeting you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anirudh. Have a good time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning.
I am Anchal Jain, student of BCA from Cresta, School of Management, Science and Arts. Let's Talk Shop is a talk show hosted by female students of Cresta. Objective of Let's Talk Shop is discuss great insights from interesting personalities. It's all about going a little deeper from known to unknown. I am excited and honored to have a great music sensation, Vasu Dixit, on the platform of Let's Talk Shop. Joining me today in this episode of Let's Talk Shop are my friends from Cresta, Simran and Disha.
We are excited too.
Let's welcome our guest, one and only Vasu Dixit. Hello, sir. I hope your day is going well. Thank you for being a part of Let's Talk Shop, and we are really thrilled about talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming, and thank you for thinking of me to be part of this. And also, usually I am the bakra for anything that starts first, because I'm mostly open for anything new and interesting. So I'm glad that I'm again doing what I'm known for, to be the first to start something. And also I would like to tell Anchal that when you're
Yes.
reading something, you read it and then you just tell it in your own way. It will be more interesting than just reading it out from the paper.
Yes, sir.
Even your questions.
Sure, sir.
Yes.
That was
Please.
great. Yeah, we are all from Mysore, and I know this place is very close to your heart. Could you please tell us what do you feel about your birthplace?
So actually I was born in Nasik, but then when I was little less than 1 year itself, I moved to Mysore. Like my parents moved to Mysore, and I grew up in Mysore for all my life. So I think the place itself has a very rich cultural background and heritage. The people are very simple and very easy to go with. The place is beautiful, the place is clean, the place is small and easy to go from one place to another. So you almost know half the city. By the time you are like 20, 30, you know half the city, because everybody knows everyone, you're somehow connected. And then it's just very easy to grow up in a place like that, than to be in a, for example, I'm just saying, because now I've moved to Bangalore 10 years back, where things are a little far, there's so much traffic, and then you actually don't want to go out in the open, because there's so much pollution and there's so much traffic, so much stress. But Mysore is like, you can take a bus from any place to anywhere. You can even go late night without being scared. And actually there is no nightlife in Mysore. By 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you're just sleeping. So for me, growing up in Mysore was one of the best things that have happened to shape me as a human being. Forget as a musician or a professional, but just as a human being, I think that's a great place to grow. Having said that, I'm not saying that is the only place, but like Mysore, all the small towns, small places are, I would rather say, in fact, go to villages and grow up. That's when how you are rooted to your place will be formed in your early stages of life.
Wow, that was really great to hear about our city. Thank you for sharing your thoughts about the city. By the way, we are all going through the pandemic COVID-19. So how has COVID-19 affected your family and you?
Quite a bit. Like many others, it has affected me also. It would be unfair or untrue if I say that it is not at all affected. Definitely, the distance or not being able to meet people that we love is a great discomfort and also stress, because I have a mother who is 70 plus, and then I'm worried about her health, and I'm worried about, because she's in Mysore and I'm in Bangalore, and then I'm worried who is coming to her place, whether it's the milkman or the maid or anyone, even whoever is her friends coming to her house. So I'm worried who is coming, what's happening, what are they carrying, and things like that. So one is about that. The other is my professional life, which is mostly dependent on live music. Like I'm a performer of my music. So that has really affected, because there are no live venues that are open for performances. So I've not performed for almost 5 months now, and that's a big heartbreak for me, because that's what I love. I mean, more than what I earn, that's what I love doing. You know, going out there, performing in front of people. There is sweat on my body. Then my bandmates are there. There's energy, and then we look at each other. We laugh. We get angry. The whole thing, the adrenaline rush of preparing for a show, you know, jamming with my bandmates, then going traveling to a venue. For example, if it's outside Bangalore, out anywhere, Mumbai, Pune, anywhere, we travel there, then we do our sound check, then we meet our fans and friends, the things that we eat there, and then we do the show, and then we party, and then we travel back. There's so much that happens in a performance. It's not just going there and performing, right? It's the whole experience. That is something I definitely miss a lot. And so when something that you love the most, you know, if it is taken away from you, you undergo a lot of distress. So that's what happened to me also. Like, for example, let's say you love your favorite lipstick, and then it's somebody has taken it and they're showing it to you, but they won't give you, right? It's not like you've lost it. You don't know where it is. They're showing it to you, but you can't reach them. And then they're teasing you that I'll give you after 2 months, I'll give you after 3 months, I'll give you after 5 months. You don't know when you're going to get it. So that anxiety is what is killing me, like many other musicians. Of course, financially, it has taken a bit of toll, but I've always been a firm believer of saving and keeping it for the rainy days. So that has been my cushioning. And luckily, touch wood, with all blessings from everywhere, I've been stable enough, sustained myself so far. And otherwise it's been not very bad, to say so. In fact, my wife has been like wanting time this year to stay home, be a little more relaxed, no travel, want to work on herself, her skills, and she thought we should have more time together. So because we both are traveling musicians, so we keep traveling, we meet very less. So this has been a good time in that sense to meet. And because we are meeting we've been together at the same place at the same time after a long time, we are also fighting a lot, and then we get to know each other much better. And after 10 years of marriage, this is the first time actually we've been together for 4 or 5 months, one place, you know. So it's a bit of a strain for both of us, but we're managing, and then we're trying to rediscover ourselves. Also, musically, it has helped, I would say, because all the stuff that I wanted to do, which are half done compositions, half done productions, all those I'm finishing so that I can release them one by one during this lockdown, and also maybe after the lockdown is over, I have my material ready.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's true that COVID-19 has changed so many things. So the trend is now is about DIY crafts and learning new things. So what did you discover in yourself, the new hobby in COVID-19?
Actually, nothing very new. It has all been things that I love doing, but I could give it more time. I have become better at making upma or uppitu. I, I have I've rediscovered my love for the cooking, and also I've become an expert, and I can guarantee it that I am a very good dishwasher. I can, I take time and clean all the nooks and corners of washing, and also there are many things that are at home that we had to finish. We had to kind of give it that, like detailing of finishing things at home, whether it's like cleaning or fixing some things. All those things I've got to do. I've got the time now to do. Otherwise, really, nothing very new that I learned. All those things that I wanted to do but never got the time, I gave it that time to do. And I've been continuously doing yoga for the past 4 or 5 months, which has been like little on and off some days, because when you travel, it's not the same, and also traveling is also like very odd timed. Some days we travel at like 3:30 in the morning. We get up because we need to catch a flight at 5 o'clock. So that was looking at my own health and my body, and self-care has been the main focus. So honestly, there is nothing really new, but all the things that I've been wanting to do, I am able to give it that time.
That's good.
So, Vasu Dikshit, you have taken Mysore on national and international map through Indian music. Did you dream that one day you would lead one of the most popular Indian rock folk bands in India?
I don't know if we are like sorry, what did you say? We are leading one of the most
Popular Indian rock
so
folk
yeah,
band.
definitely it is. So I wouldn't disagree that we are one of the popular folk rock band, because that genre itself is quite small. I mean, you don't find many folk rock bands in India, but so good that we are one of them. So I don't think that we ever dreamt of that we will become very popular in that sense. But I knew that whatever I do, I want to do it to the fullest, and whatever I take up, I need to be unique, and I need to be good in it. So, like from my college days, even if when I went for all these music competitions, singing competitions, I know that there were many other singers who would learn like 3 4 songs, right? And then they would come, be prepared. Let's say somebody has already sung "Kyunki Tum Hi Ho," so I can't. They will not be able to sing that song. So they'll have like plan B, plan C, and things like that. I used to be like, I learn only one song. It will be a very unique song, and I will learn it to the fullest, and I'll be prepared with that. And also, I would bring in my own uniqueness to that singing, so that even if somebody has sung, they'll not be able to sing the way I will do it, right? So that has been my way of putting out things. So even when we did folk rock or our kind of music, I was very sure that we need to find something that is our own, something that is unique to us. Even if these songs are something that others will sing, we should sing it in a way that is ours. That was my idea from the beginning. So I'm happy to know that we have become we are where we are. There's a long way to go, and there's more to so to say achieve in the market sense. But the idea is to explore more about ourselves, explore more music within ourselves, to improve on whatever we are doing, and hence grow as human beings more than anything.
So, as a youngster, most of us seek security on our career, though we all want to make it big. We are afraid to take bold decisions. And how was your phase of choosing music as your career?
So I didn't choose music in the beginning itself. As soon as my college, I studied fine arts. and then I studied filmmaking from NID, National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. So when I took up fine arts also, my parents were not very sure of what am I getting into, because they come from a background of engineers, doctors, you know, so to say, very good studious people in our family. So when they got to know that I'm interested in arts, they were, I think they were slightly disappointed, because studying arts is not studying. It's just something that you do just to finish a degree, right? But if you become an engineer or a doctor, that is far more respected in the society sense. So I wouldn't blame them, though at that time I was very unsure of why they are not supporting me. But I now understand that it's just that they were not exposed to certain kind of career or certain kind of subjects in their growing up years. You know, like nowadays you have video game development, social media, you have fashion designing, you have hairstyling, and these things as career. You know, like the next generation might want to specialize in that and take up. Now if I am not aware of these things, obviously I will not support that, right? I am only aware of 5 different things. If I don't know the rest 10, I will not know what is it. So I will think of the security of those generation. So one is to be aware of what are the things that's possible as a career. So when I took up fine arts, obviously they were scared and they were not sure. In fact, my mom was like, even after I joined fine arts few years, she was like, still there is time. If you want to change to some other degree, yeah, I mean, we can look at it. But the way that I was really interested and giving myself the time, and I was really occupied with whatever I was doing. My mom was really interested, and she got to know how dedicated I was until I my fine arts was a 5 year course. So until I finished like 2 years, she was unsure. But after my second year, she saw how interested I was, how studious I was, how I was dedicating my time, and I was good with my skills. That's when she got the confidence. And then after that, when I went to filmmaking to NID, even that she was not sure. She was like, "Are you studying film? Will you make film? How will you earn? You know, all this film and career and all is not like very sure of how you will survive. It's a big industry and things like that." They were very unsure, because what they think is filmmaking is only like Bollywood or the big industry. There is a lot of other ways that you can do films, right? You can do corporate films, you can do documentary, you can do ad films, you can do music videos. Many ways of doing it. So it's just that they are not aware of how to do and what to do. So as youngsters who are taking up career that are not explored or aware by your parents, first it is important that you should be aware of what are the possibilities in that particular uh, career or a course that you choose, right? And then you tell them that this is what you can be, this is what you can do after I finish the course. And also I would say, not everything that you study or what we think as education need be um, your career. Like I studied fine arts, but today I'm a musician. I studied filmmaking, but I'm a musician. So it doesn't mean that I'm earning from what I studied. But whatever I studied made me a human being who is using that in another art form that I didn't study. Right? I didn't study music. And if you say, actually, I didn't invest even 1 rupee as to study music, but I spent lakhs to um, study filmmaking. So, do you think that investment is a loss? I don't think so, because that investment is what made me as a human being to choose what I want to do in my life. So, so it is also the responsibility of the youngster or students to know what they're studying, and to show that, to bring in that confidence in what you're doing. whether you do MBA or whether you do hotel management or fashion designing, it's your responsibility to show that what you're doing is something that you love doing, and you bring in that confidence to say, I will do the best in what I'm doing. And it is not about you securing 90% or you securing um, job immediately after what you do. It's about just enjoying what you're doing and doing it to the fullest, and automatically your parents will see that someday or the other. And this whole security of job security of money and all those things will fall in place, and I think I will answer in the few next questions that you have.
That's absolutely true, sir.
On the same note, would you advise young talents to take risks with creative career opportunities?
Sorry, can you come again?
Would you advise young talents to take risk with creative career opportunities?
I don't know whether the question itself is right in the first place, because who am I to judge whether choosing a particular subject is a risk or not, right? How can you say that choosing arts, choosing dance, or choosing fashion is anything more risk than becoming a doctor or an engineer? Who am I to say that being a chef is more risky than anything else? There is no guarantee. People who have done engineering, who have done computer engineering today, because of lockdown, they are losing their jobs. They're coming back from other countries back to India, and people are sent out from many different countries because they don't have jobs. Who saw that something like this pandemic is going to come? Where is the guarantee? There is no guarantee, and there is no risk in anything. Now, yes, of course, doctors are doing a great job, but isn't the job that they are doing itself now is a risk for their health and for their life? So this whole risk thing is measured in terms of the security of money. I think that's a very wrong way to look at life itself. The security should be about how much love can you spread in the work that you do, right? So it's not about I'm not saying that you should not earn or that you should not have good bank balance and good money security, financial security. Please don't take me wrong. Like I said, I am able to survive today because I have some savings and I have that security, and that's why I'm able to sustain. But it has come with many years of planning and being sensible in my choices, right? So similarly, in any job, that risk is there. Whether you're a businessman, whether you're an investment planner, whether you are an investor, a real estate agent, or anything, there is risk in any field. So that thought itself is very wrong, that if you take up engineering, there is no risk. If you take up BBA, it is more risk. There is no real guarantee about any career in that manner. I would say whichever you're doing, whichever career that you choose, do it to the fullest and be the best, and bring in your uniqueness and see what you can add in that particular subject that you choose. There are thousands of sports people in this country, and they have taken that risk to choose that as a career. And only 11 people get to play in the national game, right? So do you say that only those 11 people or only those 14 people in the team are the successful sportsmen? No, not necessary. There are other people who play only in IPL. There are other people who play only in the Ranji Trophy. And there is a career there also. And you need to be smart enough within that how to build your own ability and how you shape your career.
That was great. Swaratma, music from soul. How did the name originate? While an Indian name, were you not suggested English name like most bands associated with them?
So the band Swaratma as a name was coined by our very first bandmate Abhinand Kumar, who is also from Mysore, and he said that he wants to name it Swaratma. Before that, it was just the two of us, and like you rightly said, we were called Twin Daffodils. So it was a funny name, but yeah, we were called Twin Daffodils because it was just the two of us. And then much later, when there were more band members, Abhinand Kumar came up with the name Swaratma because he thought music is from the soul and music should reach other souls. So he thought of the idea that the soul of the note or the music, um, or it's the soul of the note or the note of the soul or the music of the soul. So he comes with a spiritual thoughts and background, and that's when he chose. So the credit goes to him to name the band Swaratma, because we didn't want to name it something that just cool and which does not have any meaning to what we are making.
That's actually wonderful. Sir, may I know how are you emotionally attached to Swaratma?
How am I emotionally?
Yeah,
I
because
think
because you sound emotional whenever you say Swaratma. So may I know how are you emotionally attached to Swaratma?
yeah, I started the band in 2002. How many of you were born by then?
We were 2 years, I guess.
So my band was formed in 2002, and I was 22 by then. And one of the first shows that we did was in there's a girls' college in Mysore. What's that called?
Tradition.
Tertian College, and then that was our first official show, and it was a huge success. And everyone were like screaming, everyone like enjoying our music. So we thought, yeah, we have arrived, and all of those. So from there, even after I finished my NID and I came back, we formed the band. The only thought or the only thing that I ever thought of was the band, and I quit filmmaking after working in a production house for a couple of years. I quit that. I had a little bit of savings, and then I give all my time for music. And the only thing that I ever thought and did was my band. So I used to do the graphic design, I used to compose, I used to think of the costume, I would manage the band, I would think of how to promote it, I would design the website, I would literally do everything from scratch to the finish, everything on my own. So there was nothing else that I thought about other than my band. The only thing I used to think of, okay, what song do we do? What is the next song? What is the composition? How do we present? How do we perform? What costume do we wear? What graphic design we should do? How do we reach out to more people? How do we manage the band? I am spending time only with my band members. I hardly had any other friends, So like my friends would be like going out in the evening or party or weekend. I would only be jamming with my band or performing with my band. So they were my only friends, but also we are working together constantly. So it's not easy to be only friends with them, right? So when you are friends with them, it's difficult to be as bandmates with them. So it's like very difficult. So the all my emotional connect, everything was with the band. Even after I got married, I would only talk about my band. Today this happened. Today we did this. Today we did that. Today we fought. That guy said like this. This guy said like this. So my wife used to be like really, like sometimes she'll be like, "Man, can you please talk about something else other than your band? There's absolutely nothing that you talk." So I was only talking about that. I think that's also the, now looking back at it, is that the passion that I brought in, right? So because I mean, trust me, like even when I go to sleep, I'll be thinking the minute I get up, my dreams will also be about the band, and like that we are performing here, we are doing this, we are traveling here. So there is really nothing else that I thought of until now. Like some 3 years back, I have taken time off to consciously say that I do not want to think too much about my band. Also, because other people have become responsible, have taken other roles. Some of them are taking care of finance. Some of them are taking care of the production of the band. One of them is taking care of the management of the band. So, and then now we are in a place we can hire graphic designers. We can hire other people who can do work for us. So now I am taking a back seat and thinking of my own self also, and that's how I started my own collective called Vasu Dikshit Collective, where I started working on songs other than what I do in the band, and I started performing on my own and with other musicians. So that enriched me as a musician also, to bring that sensibilities into the band. And also now I had more time to think of myself, to think of my family and my wife and think. So definitely what you said, Anchal, is it's true that I was emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, everything connected only towards my band. Like, I'll only breathe, I'll think, I see, I hear, I touch only about Swaratma. There is nothing else that. So there was no difference between me as Vasu Dikshit and Swaratma as a band. So I had to take a conscious decision to say these two are separate, and I need to care for myself also.
Wonderful, sir. Hearing you, I feel that everyone, whatever they do, they should be like totally attached to the thing, whatever they're doing. So yeah, what do we need to do as a youngsters to understand our talent and explore possibilities in that direction?
See, talent is one thing. I mean, we might have talent in many different things, and to understand that, is this talent something that I want to do all my life, is another thing, right? Like I know that I have talent in drawing and painting. Also, I know I have talent in acting. I know I have talent in filmmaking. But what is it that really moves you? That you need to question, and what is it that you think you can keep doing till the end of your life? That you need to really ask yourself. And it's not like you need to ask, like sit and ask like that. It's a constant question that keeps going in your mind, and that answer will move you towards that direction. You don't have to like answer and say yes, because the as you keep liking and as you keep loving what you do, that doing will move you towards that, right? Let's say if you're a dancer, right? You spend more time in dancing, you spend more time in learning that technique, and you showcase that, you build your profile and things that will shape it towards going towards that direction. So you don't have to like sit and think for like 40 days about whether I should do this or not. The idea is to do that and then try it. Like if you love cooking, for example, you keep cooking, keep trying different things, keep tasting it, give it to a lot of other people, ask them their opinion, what do they think. Like when I was making my own compositions in the beginning, whoever, all my friends who used to come to my house, I will make sure they sit for 10 more minutes, listen to my new song, and then only go. Yeah, I remember all my friends. I mean, at that time, making our own compositions was not as cool as we think now. Like everybody used to say, hey, why don't you sing that song, a film song, this song? I was never into that. I always wanted to write my own song. So whoever my friends used to come, I will forcefully make them sit in front of me and make them listen to my song. So if you are a painter, keep doing, keep making it, show it to 10 different people, ask them, and ask other people who are into the same career, and keep asking them how do they do, what techniques they use, what skill they use to develop. That is the way that you can spread your knowledge and your um, ideas about that particular career. And nowadays internet is full of all these ideas and knowledge, so you can learn and search and find out for yourself. Of course, the danger is that you might get lost in between all these. And the danger with internet right now is that everybody wants to become a star or a successful in like very short period of time. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber in like just this, because they think, oh, he's put a video of 10 minutes and it's got like 2 million views in 4 days. I also want to become that. But you don't see what is the hard work that they have put behind that 10 minutes, right? So coming back to your question, which is what I forgot.
Okay. What do we need to do as a youngster to understand our talent and explore possibilities in that direction?
Yeah. So that's what you need to keep exploring more and more. And also, if you find out, if you figure out that this is what you want to keep doing till the end of your life, that is the way to answer your talent. Because we all are multi-talented. It's not like one person is only good in singing, one person is only good in dancing. We actually have different talents. It's about finding out which one you want to do all your life.
Yeah, that was inspiring. So we are ambitious and we aspire to grow. Where do we start to reach, and where have you reached?
Sorry, what was the first part?
We are ambitious and we aspire to grow. So where do we start to reach? Where you have reached?
Where do we start to reach in the sense what? Reach what? I'm just asking.
Okay, so you started a music career 10 years back, and that time did you think like how you have to make this graph, like you have to reach at this point in few years? And so yeah.
Very honestly, I didn't have any plan, and I think art by itself teaches you, or is a form that allows you to flow in
Yeah.
in a particular direction. There is no real plan. You can't say that in 4 years I will be at such a such place. In 5 years I want to achieve this. Like unlike, let's say you are an banker, you will say that okay, in 4 years I need to have 40 lakhs, and in another 2 years I need to have 1 crore in my bank account. That's my level of growing. In art, I don't know if that's the right way to go, but I mean, different people have different opinions.
Yeah. Yeah.
For some people, getting an award can be an achievement. For some people, releasing 4 albums in 2 years might be an achievement. For some people to say, I should make at least 3 films next year will be an achievement. So there is nothing wrong, or that one only defined way to say that this is achievement. So I didn't start off with anything like that. Our main aim was to make music, keep performing everywhere, keep doing shows wherever we can. That was our joy, and that was our only way that we thought we can reach our music. Nowadays, there are different venues. There is online, there is all these social media networks with which you can reach out to. There are different platforms like all these Spotify, iTunes, and things that you can reach out your music. And now people think oh, if he has 1 million followers, that's a success. If he has 2 million followers, that's a success. So there are different ways that the world has made it success measure and to say what one has achieved. So I don't think we really started off like that. For me, even till today, whether I play for a 10,000 people crowd or whether I play for only 10 people, have I made more fans? Have I made more people to enjoy music, look towards music, and have they grown as human beings? Have their ideas expanded because of the music that I'm creating? I think for me that's more of a success. Having said that, I'm again reiterating my own statement that making money is important. You need to be secure and you need to be safe. There are different ways where you can make it, and that's the only way you will be happy to make what you're doing. It's not like, okay, I'm not worried about making money, I'll only keep making music. That's not going to work, because end of the day you need to fill your stomach also. Only when you're healthy, when you're happy, you'll be able to sing happy songs. Otherwise it's difficult to sustain. So it all depends on what you think is your achievement and your success and your thing of where you want to reach. So I don't think I have any real destination that I think that this is it. And like I said, I am also a fine art student. I'm a filmmaker. Tomorrow I might decide to stop making music and I want to make films. So that's how I am as an artist. I want to keep my feelings free. I want to do what I like doing at that point in time. Some days I feel like composing, some days I don't feel like composing. I am like that. I can't really have a proper schedule to say, okay, 11 to 1, I'll sit for composition. It doesn't work like that, you know. So that has been the career path also I have taken. I have not really, I didn't set out to say that this is what I want to achieve. Yeah, next question. Who is supposed to ask?
When you manage a musical band, it is almost like managing an organization of talented people. What other skills help you keep the show going on in addition to your awesome music?
Yeah, like I said before, it's not just about making music. It, like you correctly said, that it is like managing an organization, an office, because there are 5 different people with 5 different tastes and ideas and emotions and intelligence. It is about also making other things that we need to do to run the band. We need to use the second skill of the band member. Like, you know, somebody is good with, let's say, designing, somebody is good with management, somebody is good with finance, somebody could be good with people, who is a good speaker. Not everybody will be good with everything, right? It's like I, for example, I don't think I'm very good with going out there, meeting people and cracking deals, and being like very joyous, forthcoming, meeting people. Sometimes I like to just not talk to people also. So everywhere I go, I don't need to make that connect. I like to be quiet. If I go to parties, not necessary I have to go and meet everyone, make interactions. I'd also like one small corner, be there. I so all of us are different in that sense. So you need to understand that in a group of people, or in a band, or in an organization, that everyone is different, and um, you need to respect that. And once you have understood what is it that others can bring in, you need to give that space for other to create as well. And like many other organization, even in a band, everything is needed, from our financing, taking care of our taxes, taking care of how we use our money. Because from the beginning, I was very sure that as a band, we need to keep saving. Most bands do this mistake that if they get 1 lakh, they just divide it into 20 each, and all 5 of them share, and then they go home. And that's it, they're done. And I was very sure that as a band, we need to save something. That's a very big decision that I had taken from the beginning, that band should save some money, because when the band wants to make, let's say, a music video, or we need to make our own next album, the band should be self-sustaining to make that. Let's say we've got 1 lakh as a income. I'll say 20,000 we will save as a band. We'll split the rest, 80,000. And then that saving is what will help us for the next projects. And also at times like this, now during this pandemic, I am very proud to say that the band is supporting all of us, and it is helping us sustain in some way or the other. It might not be like very huge amount, but at least something is coming from the band at these times, so that at least I don't have to worry about my house rent. I don't have to worry about my phone bills and electricity bill. That is taken care by the band. Rest, I need to figure how I sustain myself. So that way is you really need to build it like your own family. Any organization that you do, you have to think that that is also your family, and that is also like how in your house you have you think, okay, for weddings I need to save something, to buy a car I need to save something, to invest for my children's schooling I need to be prepared, my health insurance, same like that you need to think about your organization as well. So when you think of your organization as your family and as your home, then everything else will fall in place.
I appreciate your thinking, sir. I think that everyone can change their thinking through this. Are your bandmates okay with it? Like, were they coordinating with you for this reason?
Not in everything. I think we fight a lot. We discuss ideas. We bring everything in open. In the sense, let's say we think we should spend 2 lakhs on this music video. For example, I come up with an idea. Then we all discuss about it. Then everyone will have their own thoughts and ideas. Sometimes we fight. Sometimes we don't like what the other person is saying. Somebody goes out of the room. They don't even want to talk about it. But that is how families are, right? You in your family also, your mother will say, why do you have to buy that dress? Why do you have to spend 2,000 rupees on that small dress? Then you get angry about it. You are not understanding what I'm saying. You don't know how important it is for me. You go shut your door and then you go into. It's the same way, and you can't say that everybody has to understand you all the time, right? So you need to give that space for everyone to say, it's okay for you to disagree. It's okay that you don't agree with me. It's fine. At the end of the day, you need to also understand that everybody wants the best for the band. I think if you have that trust in each one of them, I think slowly that understanding will come. And you also need to be cool about others not being okay with your ideas, with your suggestions, with your thoughts. Once you're okay with that, then it's just easy. If you're so attached to your own ideas and concept, oh, he rejected my ideas, how can you reject like that? Then it becomes a ego clash and things, which has also happened in our band. I'm not saying that it has never happened. It has happened. Sometimes I am carried away by my own ego. Sometimes someone else is carried away by their ego. So it will happen, and it is bound to happen. How can you say that it can't happen? In fact, I keep telling this in many forums and platforms that being in a band is like being married to 5 different people. It's just that we're not living together, but we are literally sharing so much time and so much emotion and space between each other. So these differences will be there, but you need to know what is the larger importance of you being together.
I really love the way you manage your bag, the way you keep them as a family. That's really wonderful.
How do you feel? How did you feel like when you won the JD Award Music for the first time? And did that award make you feel like motivated more and more to win more awards?
Yes, the first time that we won, we were really excited because such a big award function we had not attended, first of all, and many bands and big guys from the industry were there. So it definitely motivated us because any award, I mean, even when you even in your class, in your small class test, that you get a recognition that you got, this person has achieved something, it's a validation for what you do, but that doesn't mean that that's the end of it, or every validation is only a beginning for something new and something bigger. So definitely that award helped us to see what else we can do and what else we can improve upon what we do.
Yeah, that's true, sir.
So, as a youngster, we often feel the gap in our parents' ideologies, from dressing choices to career choices. We often tend to differ. How did you manage to manage your parents with your choices? And what do they say about your achievements?
I think I've told this in the beginning also, that you can't really blame your parents that they don't understand your choices, because it's only because they are not exposed to it. Now it's your responsibility to tell them, hey mom, see, this is fashion designing. There are institutes like this. These are the things that you do. There are people who are doing this. See what they are doing. This is the career that there is to it. And this is how you can build. And show them what you are doing. See, look at my sketches. Look, this is how I am doing. These are my plans. This is what I want to do. These are my thoughts. I want to use environment in my thing. I think that will change the way the industry has been working. You need to show that confidence to them. So instead of blaming them and saying that they are not understanding, I think it's your responsibility to tell them the confidence and the interest that you have in them. I think no parents want bad for their children. It's very wrong to say that, oh, my parents don't understand, they only want me to do this, they don't. So it's very wrong to say that. It's not like they don't want you to do this. They are only concerned that, oh, my child, how will you live your life, how will you earn? Because this is the way the world has seen life, like, if you have a house, if you have car, if you have bank balance, that's the way that you can survive. That's how the world looks at survival. So you need to give them that confidence, right? And like I said, when I used to do fine arts, my mom used to say, I wish you had spent this much time in your 10th standard and 12th standard, you would have become a doctor by now. Because like till like 2 o'clock in the night, I used to sit and do my sketches. Till like late night, I used to be awake and doing what I used to love. So you need to show that passion. You need to show them that you are committed to your work. If you are a dancer, you need to show them that this is what you love and how much committed you are. So only then they will get the confidence. It's unfair to say that, oh, I played cricket, I scored 200 runs today in my class match, I will become a cricketer. That's not enough. You need to show that you have the stamina, you need to show that you have the skills, you need to show that you will keep doing this no matter what. You might fail. Next match, next 3 match, you might score ducks. Will you stop playing cricket? So if your parents have invested, all the money in your gloves, pads, and bat and things, you need to show them that, yes, I will make sure that your investment is not at loss. I mean, I'm not saying money is the only investment. They're putting their time into your interests. They're coming to pick you up from your coaching class. They're dropping you back. They're making sure that you have enough nutrition. They are taking care of you. You need to take care of, you need to respect their time and effort as well. So it's unfair to keep saying that parents don't understand. You need to make sure that you have shown your interest and make them understand through your passion.
That was really
How
helpful.
how does one prepare himself for the financial uncertainties of a career in music, and what is the secret of the success?
So to answer the last part of your thing, I don't think I have become 100% successful as of now to say that there is a secret to it. I don't think there is a secret that anybody can say that this is the way you can survive in this industry. As we speak, we have seen even in the biggest of industries like Bollywood, there are people who are earning crores, right? And still, at the drop of a hat, they become unsuccessful. One film that went wrong might change their career. Similarly, it's not the same that is true. Even if you're a doctor, if you finished MBBS, doesn't mean that tomorrow you are a successful person. You need to specialize. You need to have build your career. Only after working at certain hospitals and working under many other doctors, you become specialized, and after that you build your career, right? So if you drop it somewhere in between, obviously that's not success. So there is no secret to what we call as success. Every field and every career has its own choice and its own challenges. So financial success is something that is not stable in any career. I don't think anybody can guarantee that if you become an MBA. I know friends who have done MBA and they are in very good IT jobs, but they go through hell lot of stress. And every month they are struggling to fulfill their EMIs. Now, do you call that success? Do you think that that is financial stability?
No.
I don't really look at it like that. By the time they are 50, by the time they are 45, they are really, they're ready to retire. They say that I don't want to work this because this is so stressful. Do you think that is success? I don't know what is really success. I don't know what is financial stability. So far I have not taken even one EMI for any of the things that I have done. For me, that is success, where I am not depending on my financial commitments on anyone else. That is success for me. Today I'm eating healthy. I have having 3 meals a day. I am not worried about the next 6 months. I have enough savings. I might not own big car, or I might not have a flat of my own. I'm still in a rented house, but mentally I'm very stable and I'm fine with that. I mean, for me, that is financial success. For some people, only if they have 1 crore in their bank as balance, that is success for them. It all dependent on where they come from and what they think, what they value as financial security. Tomorrow market might crash, and someone who is doing so well in the stock market might crash down immediately. So where is the financial security that we think is stable? I don't understand that, and I don't know what is one standard of it. But like I said, yes, the only way I look at it is that I shouldn't be dependent financially for my 3 meal now and for the next few months or years. If I can sustain, that is all there is. And that is how I continue to do, what I enjoy. And eventually that is paying me, and that is success for me.
Deviating a bit from music, understand that your wife Bindu is from Tamil Nadu. How did two music souls meet? Can you share your love and music journey with us?
Yeah, so my wife is from, like you said, Tamil Nadu, and we met in NID, National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, and we actually didn't meet because we both love music. We both knew that we like music, but we just connected as two individuals who have similar choices and who love similar things, and we were attracted to each other and we loved each other, and we loved each other as human beings. In fact, even after our marriage, Bindu didn't think that she wants to do music full time. It's only much later that she discovered that she wants to do music full time. And even now, we don't collaborate all the time. Depending on the project to project, if there is a need, if there is a way that we can come together, we do. Otherwise, we respect each other's musical choices and approaches. Her musical knowledge and approach is quite different from mine. She comes from a classical background. I come from nowhere. Actually, I've like mostly like self-taught and figured it out my own way. So sometimes it is difficult actually to make music with me because I don't have a formal training. I have only ideas that I put it somehow, and then um, so between us we take project to project basis and also song to song basis and see if we really want to come together to make music. So apart from that, like many other couple, we also fight. We have our differences. We have our um, spaces where we love each other a lot. We have spaces where we like each other works a lot. We respect each other's work, and we are constant critique of each other's work. You know, for me, if Bindu has liked the work, if she has liked it, she has approved it, I think that is more than enough than whether it has got 20 lakhs or 2 million views on YouTube or some other people liking it. I think for me, she is a standard, and it's the other way also for her. When she does music, she'll show it to me, and then I tell her my feedback and my opinions. That means a lot to her, and that's why she tells, because we are also honest with what feedback that we come with. You know, like if I sing and I'll ask you three, how do you feel? Obviously you will say that it was nice, sir, it was okay, it was good, it was great and all that. But when I ask her, she will tell, hey macha, that third line in the second stanza you sang, it was out of pitch, please watch out. She'll tell, because she wants the best for me, because that's how even parents are, right? Why parents are critical is because they want you to improve. They want you to improve the next time that you perform. So if you think your parents are being critical all the time, it's also not fair, because they're not telling that only because so that you can improve from them. Okay, I'm really sorry. We'll take a 5-minute break. There is someone who has come, and then I will join. Is that okay?
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I will just stop my video and mute, and then join you back.
Sure.
Sir, we would be glad if you sing few lines of your first song for
Lines of which song?
your first song.
First song.
Yeah.
I don't know which one was my first song, but definitely one of the first songs that I wrote in Kannada was called E Bhumi. And do you all understand Kannada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
ಅವಾಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬಾರ್ದಾ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ. So this is called E Bhumi, and this is one of the first songs that I wrote in Kannada. Sorry, I'll just switch on the mic and come back.
Yes.
Hey, Abhinav Kumar. What are you doing, Mr. Abhinav Kumar, Mr. Twin Daffodils?
Right time that I logged in. ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಈಗ.
Yes. So today's session of eBhoomi Swarga is dedicated to Mr. Abhinanth Kumar.
Thanks a lot.
I'll just increase the volume a little bit. Can you hear me through this mic?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. eBhoomi Swarga agudide nodu.
Yes, sir.
ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು, ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು, ನಿಸ್ಸಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಹಾರೈಸುವಂತೆ ಹಾಡು, ನಿಸ್ಸಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಹಾರೈಸುವಂತೆ ಹಾಡು. ಹಕ್ಕಿಯಂತೆ ನೀನು ಹಾರಿ ನಗುವಾಗಲೇ ನಿನ್ನ ದಾರಿ, ಹಕ್ಕಿಯಂತೆ ನೀನು ಹಾರಿ ನಗುವಾಗಲೇ ನಿನ್ನ ದಾರಿ, ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಬಣ್ಣ ಮುಗಿಲು ಶ್ರುತಿಯಾಗಲಿ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಹಗಲು. ನಾಳೆಯ ಚಿಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಂದಿರುವ ರುಚಿಯ ಬೆಲ್ಲ, ನಾಳೆಯ ಚಿಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಂದಿರುವ ರುಚಿಯ ಬೆಲ್ಲ, ನಾಳೆಯ ಚಿಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಂದಿರುವ ರುಚಿಯ ಬೆಲ್ಲ. ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ. Okay, all three of you have to say ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು, right?
Okay.
I will say ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ and you will say ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು, right? ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ
ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು,
ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ
ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು,
ನಿಸ್ಸಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಹಾರೈಸುವಂತೆ ಹಾಡು, ನಿಸ್ಸಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಹಾರೈಸುವಂತೆ ಹಾಡು. ಮಾತಾಗಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕವನ ಪ್ರತಿಯುಸಿರು ಪುನಃ ಜನನ, ಮಾತಾಗಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕವನ ಪ್ರತಿಯುಸಿರು ಪುನಃ ಜನನ, ಮನವಿರಲು ಎಂದು ನಿರ್ಭಯ, ತೆರೆದಿರಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೃದಯ. ಅಸೂಯೆಗಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಥಾನವಿಲ್ಲ, ದ್ವೇಷಕ್ಕೆ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಸೂಯೆಗಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಥಾನವಿಲ್ಲ, ದ್ವೇಷಕ್ಕೆ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಸೂಯೆಗಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಥಾನವಿಲ್ಲ, ದ್ವೇಷಕ್ಕೆ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು, ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ ಆಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡು, ನಿಸ್ಸಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಹಾರೈಸುವಂತೆ ಹಾಡು, ನಿಸ್ಸಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಹಾರೈಸುವಂತೆ ಹಾಡು. ಹಾಡು. ಹಾಡು.
It
That was
very
amazing.
listening to your melodious voice.
We enjoyed it.
Thank you. Now, can you please let me know how did Abhinanth Kumar come into this picture? Abhinanth Kumar, you tell me, how did you get into this picture?
Cresta happens to be my client. I know Mr. Sambhav, then Anirudh and me were working for radio. Then Sudhindra was my colleague. So there's a lot of common connection. It's a very small city. So,
of course.
And then when it came to your interview, so yesterday we had a small chat and then I helped them with a few questions.
So it should be the other way around. How did I get into this picture, right?
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you, Anirudh, and thank you, Srinivasan sir. And of course, thank you, Abhinanth, for putting me into this whole interview space. Thanks to Disha, Anchal, and Simran. I hope your first experience was not a very unpleasant one. I hope you gained some confidence in interviewing someone, and hope you do better in your future endeavors, and all the best for your studies, and whatever you do it at the best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for
Right,
joining
Thank
us
you,
on
sir.
the show. Definitely, this is all the great time we had. Thank you for joining us on the show. We thank you on behalf of institution's CEO, Mr. Sambhav Shah, the eminent faculty members, and the entire team of Cresta family. See you in the next episode of Let's Talk Shop with another interesting personality. Until then, stay safe, take care, never stop talking shop.
Thank you, and all of you guys keep rocking.